What if I told you that the biggest battle of your life doesn't happen out there? It happens inside your own head, in the first minutes after you wake up. Have you felt this? Knowing exactly what you need to do but being unable to start. The plan is clear, the willingness is there, yet something locks up, and the hours slip away. By the end of the day, you lie down with the bitter thought that you could have done more. This cycle has a name, and it's not laziness. It's not lack of talent, and it's certainly not lack of time. Most people never tell you this. Discipline is not a gift some are born with. It's not a personality trait. Discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained, developed, and strengthened by anyone, including you. Imagine waking up tomorrow, knowing exactly what to do without that inner voice sabotaging you. No procrastination. No energy-draining mental struggle before you even start. It might seem distant, but what you're about to discover could surprise you. This isn't about willpower. It's about method. Stay with me until the end. You'll learn how to reprogram your routine using mechanisms your brain already possesses, but probably hasn't used correctly. The breakthrough you're waiting for may be closer than you think. Most people who reach this point have felt the same. Looking at their life and realizing the biggest obstacle between them and their goals is themselves. It's not the market. It's not luck. It's not a lack of opportunity. It's the mental pattern you repeat every day without noticing. The pattern that makes you postpone, hesitate, and justify why it didn't happen today. And here begins the turnaround. When you understand that this pattern was built, you also understand it can be deconstructed. Neuroscience proves it, and ancient philosophies like Japanese Kaizen, the art of continuous improvement, taught it long before modern studies existed. Small, consistent actions every day are more powerful than any short-lived burst of motivation. Before continuing, I need to ask you a question. Answer honestly in the comments. How many more years will you wait to become the person you know you could be? Really think about it. How many better versions of yourself were left behind because the moment never seemed right? Comment below, what's holding you back today? Every time you do, you help spread these ideas to others trapped in the same silent cycle. Be part of a community focused on real transformation. And if this content resonates, leave a like, not as a favor, but because your support helps bring this message to someone else who needs it. Your like could be the start of someone else's turnaround. Are you subscribed to the channel? This video isn't isolated. It's part of a series designed to help you build real discipline, a warrior mindset, and clarity of purpose, week after week. Subscribe now to deepen everything you're learning. The choice is simple. Are you joining the journey, or will you keep repeating the same patterns? If you want to go further, become a member of this channel. Members get videos first, plus exclusive content not available to the public. It's for those serious about their transformation. The link is in the description. Join the group that doesn't wait for life. Go get it. Your participation helps this channel reach more people with life-changing content. Now let's continue. Here is where everything starts to change. The hidden truth about freedom. Many people, when they look at the extraordinary life of Miyamoto Musashi, fall into the trap of believing he had some innate talent or divine spark that separated him from ordinary people. But that belief is just a way to excuse ourselves from responsibility. The real truth, and one few have the courage to face, is that discipline is not reserved for the chosen few. It is constructed, chosen consciously, and trained daily without compromise. Musashi didn't become the greatest swordsman because he felt like training at dawn. He became a legend because he understood that momentary willpower is irrelevant compared to a higher purpose. Here we confront a modern trap: dependence on motivation. We are taught to wait for the right moment or a surge of courage to start acting. But motivation is unstable. It's fleeting, unreliable, and often treacherous. You cannot build a legacy on something so volatile. Discipline, on the other hand, is rock. It is solid, immutable, and stays firm even when you're tired, frustrated, or uninspired. Shifting your mindset to stop waiting for favorable conditions and deciding to be the rock that withstands the storm is the catalyst for real transformation. Perhaps the most surprising point of this journey is redefining freedom. Society tells us discipline is a prison, a set of rigid rules that crush spontaneity. That's a mistake. Lack of discipline is the real slavery. If you cannot control your actions, if you obey only immediate impulses, you are not free. You are a hostage to desire, laziness, and circumstance. Without discipline, you are a slave to comfort. True freedom, the kind Musashi sought, comes from choosing your direction regardless of external forces. Discipline cuts the chains of procrastination and allows you to design the life you want instead of accepting the one handed to you. It is stepping out of passivity and taking responsibility for your choices. Comment below. Discipline is my freedom, the supreme art of the warrior. Why focus on a Ronin from feudal Japan when there are countless historical figures and modern productivity experts? The answer is the brutal authenticity of his journey. Musashi is living proof that discipline, elevated to supreme art, transcends time. He didn't preach theory from comfort. He lived every word on the edge of the sword, where a single lapse could mean death. Musashi won over 60 duels, often against opponents who were technically superior or outnumbered him. How? He turned life itself into a dojo. For him, there was no separation between training and living. Everything was training. Everything was the way. This is the lesson often lost in modern approaches to productivity. Musashi's discipline was not a to-do list. It was a posture toward existence. In the Book of 5 Rings, he wrote, "If you know the way broadly, you will see it in all things." This means that the way you make your bed, choose what to eat, or respond to a difficult email directly affects your ability to win life's bigger battles. There are no shortcuts behind the scenes of greatness. Musashi teaches that the truth of combat is the truth of everyday life. Keep your mind calm, judge situations clearly, and act without being consumed by them. What follows is not simple advice on waking up earlier. We are about to explore a full transformation of mindset. We are talking about a complete transformation of mindset. We will explore the psychology of this undefeated warrior in depth. I've condensed Musashi's philosophy into 7 practical, direct methods. Applying these won't just improve your routine. It will install the mindset of someone who refuses to be mediocre. This promise is bold but necessary. Mastering these principles will make your capacity for achievement so noticeable that those around you will wonder what changed. They'll see the results, but they won't know the source of your new strength. You'll stop being just another face in the crowd and become someone who shapes reality with the precision of a katana. Musashi said, "Do nothing that is useless. Every movement must have purpose." That's what we'll do next. Remove the noise and focus only on what truly matters. What comes next will challenge how you approach your limits and daily decisions. Understanding the philosophy is the first step, but applying it in the chaos of modern life is the real battle. Transitioning from theory to practice is the hardest challenge. For those ready to go further, I've prepared complementary material called The Path of Japanese Discipline. It is precise, designed to transform an ordinary mind into one capable of acting even when tired, unmotivated, or alone. This isn't about fleeting enthusiasm. It's about mastering emotions and building silent, consistent strength. This is the end of procrastination and the start of lasting results. Over 1 million people have already used this ancestral method to change their lives. If it resonates, check the material below. A warning: this content may not remain available indefinitely, so take advantage while you can. Now, let's go deeper into Musashi's 7 methods, from emptiness to legend. We'll break them down step by step so you not only understand but feel the change. The reverse engineering of Musashi's mind avoids unnecessary complexity. Pay attention to each step. First method: embrace the void. Modern intuition tells us that growth requires more information, more tools, more techniques. Musashi taught the opposite. Discipline begins with subtraction. The void isn't absence, it is clarity. Imagine a duel. A mind full of noise, anxiety, or unfinished tasks is already defeated before the sword is drawn. To practice this, remove the noise. Build intentional moments of silence. From clarity comes precise, effective action. Second method: make your routine sacred. There's a vast difference between a to-do list and a ritual. Musashi didn't debate whether to train. Training was part of his identity. Discipline becomes unbreakable when it stops being a daily choice and becomes who you are. Choose 2 or 3 essential actions and treat them as sacred and non-negotiable. This eliminates decision fatigue and prevents mental energy from being wasted on battling your own laziness. Third method, win the morning battle. The tone of your day is set in the first moments after waking. Hitting snooze signals your subconscious that comfort is more important than purpose. Mornings are fresh territory. Don't wait for willpower. Create energy through action. Movement, water, and deep breathing signal your body that the day's battle has begun. Fourth method, cut what doesn't serve. Musashi traveled light, carrying only what was vital for survival and combat. We carry emotional and digital clutter, meaningless commitments, draining relationships, and toxic thoughts. Discipline grows when you remove dead weight. Treat your life like a sword. It doesn't need decoration. It needs to be sharp. If something doesn't serve your goal, cut it without hesitation. Remember, do nothing that is useless. Fifth method, transform pain into power. Modern society teaches us to avoid discomfort. Samurai knew the forge requires fire, heat, and hammer blows. Greatness demands sacrifice. Pain from rigorous training, challenging study, or saying no to easy pleasures should be reframed. It is fuel. The pain of discipline is temporary and produces pride. The pain of regret is permanent and produces shame. Choose which you carry. Sixth method, respect your word. In the old code, a promise was sacred. Today, we say we'll start Monday and fail Tuesday. Every broken promise erodes self-confidence. To become a legend in your own story, your word must be law. Keep small promises obsessively. This builds an armored identity. What you say is done. Seventh method, train body and mind like a sword. A brilliant mind cannot exist in a neglected body, nor a strong warrior with a weak mind. Discipline is holistic. Musashi was a swordsman, strategist, painter, and philosopher. Feed your intellect. Strengthen your body. Rest intentionally. Repeated effort, those repeated blows that temper steel, is the secret to enduring mastery. There's a deeper level here, identity. The 7 methods are not a checklist. Discipline is not something you do, it is something you are. This shift in mindset is the hardest transformation. No one is born disciplined, just as no one is born holding a sword. Discipline is territory to be conquered and defended daily. Musashi's final lesson. Today is victory over yesterday's self. Tomorrow is victory over lesser men. Notice the order. The first and greatest battle is never against the world, your boss, the economy, or circumstances. The real war happens in the silence of your mind when the alarm rings and no one is watching. The legend is forged in those invisible moments. No one can give you discipline. No course or mentor can inject willpower. They can show the map, but walking the path, feeling fatigue and resistance, that's your responsibility. Discipline is like sharpening a sword. Sharpen it today and it is ready to cut. Neglect it tomorrow and it rusts. Entropy is natural. Everything tends toward chaos if energy isn't applied. Your spirit is that blade. Discipline isn't a trophy to admire. It is a living tool that must be maintained daily. Musashi emphasized constant practice, the endless way. Stagnation is the death of the warrior. This mindset demands viewing discipline as a privilege, not a punishment. Waking early, training, studying, or working with focus isn't deprivation. It's building a life worth living, shaping an identity so strong that difficult choices become natural. Musashi said, "Don't seek pleasure for pleasure's sake. True pleasure comes from overcoming, building a legacy, and knowing you didn't waste the time given to you." This authority is silent, recognized without words. It is the posture of someone who has already won the greatest battle, victory over self. It rusts. Entropy is the natural law of the universe. Everything tends toward disorder if energy isn't applied to maintain structure. Your spirit is like that blade. Discipline is not a trophy to display. It is a living force that weakens if not nurtured daily. That is why Musashi emphasized constant practice and the endless path. He knew stagnation marks the death of the warrior. This journey asks you to stop seeing discipline as a punishment and start viewing it as a privilege. True freedom is not being a slave to your lowest impulses. When you choose to wake early, train, study, or work with focus, you are not denying yourself life's joys. You are building a meaningful life. You are shaping an identity so strong that difficult decisions become natural, not a struggle. Musashi said, "Don't seek pleasure for the sake of pleasure." This doesn't mean living a sad life. Real satisfaction comes from overcoming challenges, building a legacy, and knowing you didn't waste the time given to you. This presence impacts everything you do. People can feel it when they are around someone who governs themselves. It is silent authority, noticed without words. It is the posture of someone who has already won the greatest victory before leaving home. Victory over self. Conclusion. The way continues. Reaching this point in the video is significant. Most people would have been distracted by a notification or a new distraction, but you stayed focused. You chose depth over surface, and that speaks volumes about your mindset and commitment to growth. If this discussion brought clarity and sharpened your perception, leaving a like is a silent signal that we share the same mindset, reinforcing this exchange. If you want to continue receiving content that challenges you to expand your potential rather than underestimate your intelligence, subscribing is the natural next step. This is not about numbers. It's about gathering a minority who understand that life demands strategy and posture. I want to know who truly followed the path to the end. Write in the comments a phrase that sums up today's journey. Discipline is freedom. When I see it, I'll know you are part of the group that finishes what it starts. Remember, theory only has value when applied. The guide I mentioned, The Path of Japanese Discipline, is pinned in the first comment. It's designed to install this operating system into your daily routine. Real life demands strength, consistency, and direction. Having a sharp sword and a disciplined mind is not enough if you don't know where to focus that energy. Strategy behind action is what maximizes all of this. There is a video alongside this one that complements everything we've covered. It dives into the strategic vision that guides the warrior's hand. Click and continue there because true training never ends.